We have 50 Kansans and 74 non-residents, which is more than usual. So we sent out the same number of offers that we usually do. We just had more students accept those offers. So we didn't rescind any of those offers. Some other veterinary programs had this happen this year also, and they deferred some students to next year, but we did not do that. So our class is a little bit bigger than usual. Usually we take about 112 to 117, depending on the year. We did not have as many male students this year as we have in the past few years. So 86% of our first year class are female students and 14% are male students. 22 is about the average age, but this year I think our range was 20 to 30. There you can see the average science GPA, and this is calculated just on our science requirements. So if you look at our list of requirements and you pick out all the science courses there, we do calculate a separate GPA just on those science courses. The average overall prerequisite GPA was 3.6, and the last 45 credit hour GPA was 368. The GREs are listed there, but I am hoping that you all have heard by now that we are not requiring the GRE this year or in the future. So that should be a weight lifted off your shoulders that you will not have to take the GRE. Undergraduate requirements. So here's that list of requirements. I know you all know that. You're all working towards completing those requirements. So I won't spend too much time on that. So what does it take, and what are some of the things that we're looking for in applicants? So obviously it takes a compassion for animals and people. So many people leave that people part off of that sentence. You know, they say they want to be a veterinarian because they love animals. Well, there was never a dog that came in to see me at my clinic that didn't have an owner with it. So you do have to love people, and people are going to challenge you. Working with people can be very challenging because of their animals. I think that human doctors might say the same thing, but veterinary medicine, there's just another level on that love for their pet and what that pet means to them. So it ramps that interaction with those people up just a little bit. Respect for life and personal integrity. Man, you will be put in some situations that are pretty tough, and you have to be honest. You have to respect life. You have to defend animals often. So you just have to be willing to stand up for those sorts of things. How many of you out there enjoy public speaking? Not very many. How about writing papers? Some people love writing papers, so maybe some of you out there like that. But those are two skills and two prerequisites that we require because they're very important skills in a profession. So writing, if you can't write in a professional manner, it reflects on your quality of practice. So you want to make sure that you pay attention in those classes, and public speaking is important, but interpersonal communication is also just very important. Learning to talk to lots of different types of people and listen to different types of people. Problem solving. So, you know, we learn in vet school what a disease is supposed to look like, you know, what the classical clinical signs are, what the blood work should say, what the physical exam signs will be. There's not an animal out there that follows the textbook exactly the way it should be. So being able to put together some of those pieces of a problem to come up with a plan and hopefully a solution to your case is really important. Commitments to one's community and society. So, you know, on the application for vet school, they ask for lots of different types of experiences, and one of them is community involvement. So if you haven't already, make sure you get involved in your community, do some volunteering, and make those efforts mean something to you, not something that you think the admissions committee wants to see. it should be valuable to you because your time is limited. We know how busy you are as students. And so spend your time doing something that you're passionate about that will mean something to you. And diversity and inclusion is also very important, as we're all seeing in our country and in our world right now, how important it is to be aware of what's going on and our reaction to that. And also for me, it's very important to create an inclusive environment. So being open and willing to interact with lots of different types of people, with different interests, with different cultures. It's just very important. And from a professional level, it's one of the most important things because every client is not going to look exactly like you. They're not going, they might not speak exactly like you. They might have a different philosophy about raising animals than you. So it's very important to become as educated as you can culturally and be aware of some of those differences and learn how to work with some of those differences. So like I said, we usually have 112 to 117 per year. Last year we had 1,100 applicants. I do think that removing the GRE from our formula this year has made a huge difference. We have more applicants than that right now in process, but you never know who's going to submit out of that group. Some of them might have just started an application because they're going to apply next year. So we'll see by September 15th. Our average incoming science GPA is usually 3.4 to 3.5, like I said. These are the experience categories that I'm talking about. So when you're filling out your VMCAS application, you will want to make sure that you fill this out completely. So you will enter the experiences that you've had, and then you have the ability to also put in details about those experiences. So we look at this area, the experience area, very closely. So make sure you fill that out completely. Everything that you've done with a veterinarian will go under veterinary experience. Anything with animals that did not involve a veterinarian goes under animal experience. There's that volunteer community activity. Also extracurricular, so any clubs like the pre-vet club that you're involved with, any other club you're involved with on campus, or even some of these experiences can go back to high school. So really we look at about the last 6 to 8 years. So make sure that, if you had a lot of experiences in high school and in college, make sure you include all of those. And then employment too, because we recognize that there are students who have to work. So maybe they had a job and they don't have as much veterinary experience. So we're trying to really kind of balance all of that, especially if students had to work through their undergraduate years. In addition to the VMCAS, we do have a K-State supplemental application. So you want to make sure that you finish both of those applications. We usually have an on-campus interview. This year we are going to do Zoom interviews. So I don't think K-State will ever go away from doing interviews. We feel like it's very important to meet our applicants, and we want our applicants to meet us and really decide if K-State is the place for them. So it really goes both ways during those interview experiences. We also want applicants to get to know our ambassadors, our current students, and get some feedback from them and their experiences here at Kansas State. Many of you have probably heard about the CASPER. If you are applying this year, we are asking that you take the CASPER assessment. So what that is, it's what's called a situational judgment assessment. And the CASPER is 12 different scenarios. So there are 9 that are video based and 3 that are written. And so the video based, you'll watch a video of a certain situation and then you will give a video response. So you do have to have a webcam and a microphone and to be able to do that during this assessment. And what it does for us, or how we will use it, and it's very low stakes this year. We're really just kind of going to evaluate how we could use it. So I don't want anybody to be super stressed about it. But it assesses different personal qualities, so such as professionalism or communication or empathy or ethics. There's a list of 12 different qualities that they're looking for during their assessing. And the assessment is actually done by raters who are trained. They are not medical professionals, so they're not veterinarians. They might be future clients or kind of represent what our clientele could be from our profession. So the few pieces of advice I can give about the CASPER is one, they do offer a free practice assessment. You don't get any scores from that, but I think the benefit to it is actually just getting the feel for what that test is going to be like. And the timing of it. That's the one thing I've heard from applicants so far is that they don't feel like there's enough time. So make sure you give yourself enough time, go through one of those practice assessments. I think it could be very helpful to you. The other thing applicants don't like about it is that you don't get a score. We get a score report, but the students who take the assessment do not get a score. So you know, we're all just so programmed to want to know how we did and get that result. So that's a little frustrating too, I think, for applicants. The other piece of advice I have is just to be very thorough in your response. So this is not a yes or no type of assessment. This is a give your response and support that response with maybe 3 reasons that you gave that response. So there's no right or wrong answer. So what they're looking for is give your answer and how do you support it. So just make sure you give plenty of detail associated with your response. Are there any questions right there about the CASPER or applying this year or anything like that?
Yeah, so you only have to take the CASPER if you're a senior applying, right? You don't have to, okay, I'm sorry.
No, thank you for clarifying. Yes, just if you're in the application process right now, will you need
Yeah,
to?
I just got emails about it, so I was like really confused. I was like, why am I getting emails?
I tried to communicate about it to as many people as possible. So I've also sent it to the College of Ag advisors and the College of Arts and Sciences advisors because it's new and we've never used it before. So I've just been trying to spread the word as much as possible to try to get everybody aware and on the same page of what's going to be required, because we will very likely require it in the future.
All right, thank you so much.
Yes, good question. Anybody else?
I think a good question that people might want to like clarify on is, you said that there are practice exams for the CASPER. They might want to know if there's a limit on how many you can take, or if they're after however many you have to take, if you have to pay for extra ones or stuff like that.
I'm fairly certain you can probably only take the practice once. And again, it's just getting a feel for what the process is to go through that test. And you can only take the CASPER once. So when you take the official exam, you can only take that once as well. So that's why taking the practice will give you a feel for the format, and then you'll be ready. Anybody else?
Yes. Do you have an average number for like the experience section that you see in applications, like an average hour number or anything like that?
Sure, Tristan, good question. We don't necessarily, because we don't have any requirements. We don't have a minimum requirement on veterinary hours, which you will see that at other vet schools. They do require every applicant to have a certain number of hours, and we just don't require that because we know everybody's situation is unique. And, you know, the veterinary experience is really recommended have a good feel for the profession. So that's why we also recommend a variety of experiences if you can, just to get exposed to different areas of veterinary medicine, different types of practice, industry, pharmacy, pharmaceutical companies, anything like that, that will just let you know all the opportunities for veterinarians. So I could probably I could filter everything from last cycle and send you guys some average number of experiences. So I'd be happy to do that. Let me make myself a note. But I'd be happy to share that information with you just for all of our applicants and the average number of experiences. So you have an idea, but everybody is different. Everybody is treated as an individual and really not compared that way necessarily. So I hope that kind of answers your question, but I'll be happy to share those average numbers of experiences with you. Anybody else?
I got a question about the Casper. You said that you'd only take it once, but say if somebody did not make it into the vet school the first year, but they reapplied the second year, would they have to redo the Casper, or is it literally just that one time?
Yep. Yeah. I don't think you retake it. Your one score is the score that you have, and it'll carry over until the next year. So you just take that assessment once.
Okay, so then my next question would be then, like, how heavily does it weigh on your application then if you can't change it into the next year?
Mm-hmm. That we haven't truly decided yet. So because it's new, it will be something that will likely not be very heavily weighted. Of course, the most important thing on our assessment of applications is academics. But the Casper has been shown to be more effective than the traditional type of interview that we do, and even more effective than the multiple mini interviews that you might hear other schools doing. So there are several schools this cycle who've just gone, they're not going to do interview at all, and they're just going to use Casper because it assesses for some of those different personality traits that we're looking for that lead to successful vet students and successful veterinarians. So it might sound daunting that you don't ever get to take it again. And that's why I'm trying to give you those tips on how to be successful there. Take that practice assessment and really make sure you support your responses. And type fast during the written responses, because students say they don't have enough time. Another thing, they don't count off for any grammar or punctuation or spelling errors. So just trying to get express your answer as quickly as possible without worrying about some of those things. Hopefully that might help you too. So we'll see as time goes on how much it will influence the application portion. So like I said, 60% is academics, which leaves the rest for the application review. We're talking about all of those experiences. The interviews points go within that remaining 40%, all the letters of recommendation, all of your essays. So the Casper will probably fit in there somewhere, but we just don't really know that quite yet. Anybody else? Okay. This is on our website, so you can look at it a little further if you want to, but again, it's just our statistics for the class of 2024. So I thought it might be helpful for you to see. Students in our program come from all over the United States. Pretty impressive that they speak 12 different languages. As you all know, I hope, you do not have to earn a bachelor's degree before you come to vet school. Many students do, which is perfectly fine. And some students have advanced degrees, so they've either earned a master's or even a PhD before they come to vet school. But we have about 26% in this class who did not earn a bachelor's degree before they came to vet school. And as Kansas State students, I hope you all know that you can earn a bachelor's degree if you come to vet school early before you earn that bachelor's degree. Whether you're in the College of Agriculture, make sure you complete their requirements. And then once you come to vet school, we do a little retroactive transfer after 2 years, and you can earn a bachelor's degree that way. If you are coming in through the College of Arts and Sciences, so biology majors or biochemistry majors, as long as you complete their undergraduate requirements, you can retroactive transfer credits after the first year and then earn your bachelor's degree. So I hope you all are aware of that. I wanted to also share just our national application information. So, and mainly to show this, this year there were 86.6% of the applicants were female and 13% were male. So we are just a little bit over the national average on male students, but we really need a better balance in veterinary medicine of our applicants and students who are accepted. And this too, race and ethnicity. So the majority of our applicants are white. And that is something that really every vet school in the United States is working on. AAVMC, our American Association of Veterinary Medical Colleges, is working on. So we're all trying to really improve the diversity of veterinarians in this country. You all might already kind of know this, but what the first year entails is pretty much learning everything normal, anatomy and physiology, microanatomy, and then the second year is everything abnormal. So the causes of disease, how to diagnose disease, how to treat disease, how to work up a case. Third year is clinical skills. So that's when we get into anesthesia and surgery, performing surgeries during the third year. And then the fourth year is when everybody finally gets over to the clinics, which is a pretty fun year. Get to bring it all together, rotate through every rotation in that in the hospital, so exposed to lots of different types of animals. Another thing I hope you've heard about is that we do have a clinical skills course that begins in the very first year, the first week. You'll be practicing clinical skills. And we do have live animal labs even through every year. So that's an addition within about the last 3 years that has really changed the skill level of our students once they get to third year, and then especially once they get into the clinic. It used to be before we had clinical skills, we were learning how to draw blood when we were in the hospital. So now that skill will be solid by the time fourth year students enter that clinical year, and they can concentrate on working up cases rather than learning some of those clinical skills. So certainly been a great addition to our program. Oh, well, here it is. There's a little bit more about those clinical skills, but I pretty much said all of that. Hopefully you've maybe seen on Facebook, if you follow us on Facebook, this is our new Boehringer Ingelheim lecture hall or auditorium. On a normal day, it will hold about 230. During COVID, we're spread out quite a bit more than that. But we're really excited about this new auditorium. It's the third year students spend their time here, and it's been a great addition. Of course, we have the Veterinary Health Center associated with the vet school right next door, which is not the case at every vet school. So we're very fortunate to have a full functioning veterinary hospital right associated with our facilities. The veterinary diagnostic lab is also very impressive. It has outgrown our facility, so we actually have a second building where a lot of the diagnostic tests are going on. You all may have read that our diagnostic test is performing a large amount of the COVID tests for the state of Kansas, and we have a one-day turnaround. So we're very fortunate that everybody at the diagnostic lab is dedicated to really providing that information as quickly as we can have it available. The Equine Performance Testing Center, which was once kind of an open air arena, has now been enclosed from a generous donation. And so it has a soft surface, hard surface, it has a straightaway, with technology that helps us identify lameness, because sometimes they can be so subtle, and it really helps students see that lameness, and that technology helps us diagnose that. We also have just remodeled the large animal receiving area. So Temple Grandin worked on those plans for us. So it's a much less stressful environment for the animals, very safe for our students and faculty. So that's open now, so very exciting there. We also have pretty much the largest rabies testing lab in the world. We handle 80,000 cases per year, and those are both human and veterinary samples. And then we have the Biosecurity Research Institute, the BRI, which is in Pat Roberts Hall, just north of the vet school, where a lot of very important research goes on. This is a level 3 research facility. So they have kind of a demonstration lab where you can go in there and you can put on all the garb that's really required for that level 3 type of research. So lots of great things going on there. Within the health center, so this is the veterinary hospital, we see usually about over 16,000 cases in the small animal hospital, 1,300 food animal cases, about 1,700 equine cases, and the field service is very busy. So equine field service and large animal field service, where they go out to the clients and see patients there. But like I said, this is a very important year for students where they really get to practice being a veterinarian, still under the guidance of specialists. And you think of a specialist in human medicine, we have the same specialists in veterinary medicine. So we have oncologists and dermatologists and radiologists and cardiologists. So we are a specialty hospital. We do also have a pet health center, so we see normal healthy animals for routine care, which is very important rotation actually, because that's the majority of a practicing veterinarian's job. And then board certified surgeons and our nurses really play a very important role, and actually also play an important role in educating our students. So the nurses can be very valuable within the hospital. I hope you've heard of our mobile surgery unit. This is a 4th year rotation that students spend 2 weeks on this rotation, and we'll do a minimum of 50, that's 50 surgeries. When I first heard that number, I said, did you say 15 or 50? It was 50 surgeries. Just blows my mind that students graduate from vet school having that many surgeries under their belt. They can walk into a practice and be confident doing surgery right away. Whereas when I graduated, I had done 3. So it makes a huge difference in the confidence level of students and the skill level of students. And it's not just for small animal interested students. I mean, surgery skills are surgery skills. So this is a fairly competitive rotation. I think about 80% of our students get to go through this rotation. But we do have a second mobile surgery unit in the works. So we look for pretty much all of our students to have the opportunity to go through this rotation. We just, I need to update this again. We just surpassed 24,000 spays and neuters on dogs and cats with this facility. Pretty awesome. Vet school is stressful. I don't know if you guys have heard that or not. It's stressful and it can be very challenging. It's mainly just the amount of information that you are exposed to each day can be overwhelming. So we have a lot of different things that we try to do to support our students. We do have 2 full-time counselors. They've been here for about 15 years. There are a lot of vet schools out there who are really just now kind of getting counselors on board, but they've been here for our students for 15 years. So certainly K-State's a leader in the area of mental wellness. And we also kind of have, every year, we have a donor who's interested in this area, and we take suggestions from the students. What do they want? So out of that has come a workout facility in the basement of Trotter Hall. So there's several treadmills and stationary bikes and weights and that kind of thing. So students don't have to leave. If they want to get in a quick workout, they just run downstairs and get that done. One thing back to the counselors, students have free and unlimited visits. So usually by the time they finish third year, about 86% of our students have spent at least one session with our counselors. And I know there are students who just have a weekly standing appointment. They go whether they feel like they need it or not. And so learning how to really handle the stress of vet school and eventually the stress of practice. We do have yoga that we offer three times a week. We have the Purple Pantry, which is an extension of the Cat's Cupboard, because we do recognize that all students really could have food insecurities. So we provide a space in one of our kitchenettes for food for any student who needs it. We do have lots of clubs. We have a house system. Have you guys heard of the house system? Heard about it? We do have 6 different houses. And it's really mainly used as a networking type of organization. So students from all 4 classes are sorted into a house, faculty members also, and staff. So you have the opportunity to meet students in all different levels of the veterinary program, make those connections that really could last a lifetime and really help you in your future. We do offer tutoring that's free to any student who needs that. Students are also given a peer mentor, so a second-year mentor, a fourth-year mentor, and a faculty mentor. So lots of support there. And then we also, for the fourth-year students, we do have a career fair where usually we bring practitioners here. This year we're doing that all virtually, but last year, I think we had about 88 clinics who came to our career fair to recruit students to try to hire our graduates. So it's been really helpful for our students. Research opportunities. This is a question we get pretty often. So lots of opportunities here, either as a student worker or as a summer, running your own research project. So lots of opportunities. Dual degree programs also. If you're interested in research, you can earn a DVM PhD, a DVM Masters, or a DVM Masters of Public Health. So there are some scholarships associated with those dual degree programs also, just to help fund that education. I'm sure you've all heard of NBAF also, the National Bio and Agri-Defense Facility. We have a path there also for DVM PhD students that are offered a scholarship there and even a living stipend to go through this program. It's a 5-year program, and then it's a 7-year dedication to working at NBAF. So certainly for those students interested in transboundary diseases, it could be a great opportunity. So this is a little bit more for high school, is college level math and science. But again, we need to focus on those written and oral communication skills, working with a veterinarian. And I know that's really hard right now. A lot of these extracurricular and volunteer and veterinary hours are going to be hard. So that's where I'm glad we don't have a minimum requirement. Nobody really needs to be stressed about that. We recognize that that could affect applications for the next several years. So, you know, I would just say get what experience you can right now, but know that we are recognizing the challenges that you're going through to try to get some of those experiences. So please don't stress too much. Those veterinary experiences are very important too for that reference letter. So we do require a reference letter from a veterinarian, from either an advisor or a professor, and then also just a personal reference. So keep that in mind as you're going through some of these experiences, so you'll be able to get those reference letters. Right. I mentioned this, I know most of us are past this, but you know, if you have connections to very successful students in high school, please help us spread the word and make sure that they are aware of our early admissions program. How are you going to pay for vet school? I know you all know that it's expensive, but it will be worth it. But there are several scholarship opportunities. So the VTPRK is a very big scholarship for students who are interested in staying in Kansas and practicing in a rural setting in Kansas. We also have several in-house renewable scholarships, but there are so many scholarships out there for vet students. If you do some searches, if you just type in vet student scholarship, you will have pages of resources. So students who take the initiative and fill out those applications are usually very successful getting some of those scholarships. Hopefully you all are also very aware of the so many opportunities that are available to veterinarians. Most of us, when you think of a veterinarian, you think of practice. That's pretty natural, but always keep your eyes and ears open. You never really know what opportunities are going to open up for you. So just being aware of all those different opportunities. We do have, at the time of graduation, we generally have 100% graduation. There was one year that we had one student who just had not decided between the two offers that she had as a job. So that was our 99% year. But the jobs are out there. Veterinarians are in very high demand. So veterinarians who want to be working are working. We usually also have a very high pass rate on our national exam. That's the NAVLE. And again, I think that's because we are a non-tracking program. Students learn about every species, practice on every species. So they have that very broad education because the NAVLE tests on every single one of those species. So, and our dedicated faculty, I'd have to say, is really the other reason. It's the education that they receive here that provides that very high pass rate. Our students go into all different types of practice, also into industry, pharmaceutical and government positions. I just had a student who graduated in 2018 and she went into poultry production. So she sent us her contact information for anybody who might be interested in poultry practice. So again, really the possibilities are limitless once you finish that degree. Right now we are providing virtual tours. So if you haven't been over here for a tour, feel free to either send us an email. We will have a survey up fairly soon on our visit page to let us know that you'd just like to see it. So an ambassador will give a virtual tour by iPad. So it's just a way to still get to promote our program, let everybody see inside our buildings when we're not really allowed to do that in person. This is our contact information. So if you have questions, please feel free to email us, give us a call, set up a visit, anything like that. If you have an individual application you want to go over, I'm always happy to go over those applications with students and then set up a tour for you too. So what other questions can I answer for you?
Going back to NBAF, I don't know if you would know by any chance, but I got told by another professor that they had student worker jobs there that would like tie into what you spoke about. But so far, everywhere I've looked into, and I've even emailed them, I've been unable to find it, and I don't know exactly who to contact through K-State for it.
Right, and it's not open yet, so that could be why. But Madeline, if you would send me an email just to remind me about that, I'll see if I can find you a contact and get you some answers there.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Tying back to the CASPER exam, is there like a time limit of when like you can do the practice? Is there like a specific time, or like can we do it all year? We could possibly do the practice exam.
That I don't know. I'm assuming that once you log in and you start that practice assessment, it will be just like a regular assessment and you have to finish it then. So it's a 60 to 90 minute exam usually. So you probably want to set aside an hour to an hour and a half and sit down and finish it just that once. Good question.
Is each section of the Casper exam timed, or is the whole thing, like, do you just have an unlimited amount of time for each question, and whenever you're done with that one, do you just move on to the next one?
I think you have a limited time for each scenario, and then they do give you a 15-minute break if you would like a break sometime within that test session. But it sounds to me like you really have about 5 minutes to answer each of the 12 scenarios.
How often do you guys look at the ACT scores for admissions?
We really don't. We consider that for our early admissions program, but when you're applying for vet school, we really are not looking at your ACT scores.
So if I got like a really like not good ACT score, I shouldn't try to go back and do it again, right?
No.
Okay, good.
No. For academics, what we're looking at is, again, that science GPA. So on the science prerequisites, so those are the chemistry, physics, biochemistry, organic chemistry, biology, microbiology, genetics. So those science courses are very important, and because our program is science-based. So we want to see that you've had success in those classes that are really kind of the base for our program. So the science courses are very important. Then we'll also look at a last 45 credit hour GPA. And that's really kind of when you're into some of those higher level science courses. It's usually your last 3 to 3.5 semesters. And that science GPA also kind of helps us evaluate how could a student do in our program in those higher level science courses. The other thing we do this year new, and this is a little frustrating to some students, but because we dropped the GRE, which was part of our academic evaluation, this year we are averaging retakes. So in the past, students who've not been successful with application, that's been our recommendation, is retake some courses to strengthen that science GPA. And in the past, we just took the best grade that you'd ever gotten in any course. But this year, those will be averaged. So that's another big change this year.
Do you take into account, like, if someone took a class through a junior college online, do you take that into consideration if it was taken at a four-year university compared to like a junior college or community college?
Right. We really don't. We accept courses from any accredited institution. So that means K-State, any other four-year institution, any community college, and any online course. So it's very difficult to compare, I mean, across our entire country and really across our world, because we have international applicants. It's really hard to say, oh, that's a good community college, but that's not. So this grade counts more than that one does. So there's just not really any way to compare them. And, you know, there are some students who start out at a community college, maybe get some of those general requirements completed. And I don't think we can count off for that. You know, that's maybe sometimes an economical decision, which is a wise choice for some people. So, so we're not going to count off for if you took courses at a community college. But really to kind of look at that rigor is where we're looking at those retakes. And we do ask the question of how many semesters you've taken over 14 credit hours. So that's another way to evaluate rigor and really are you prepared for the 20 to 22 credit hours you're going to be taking when you get into vet school? So pushing yourself a little bit in undergrad and taking 14 credit hours or more per semester is also an advantage to you and prepares you more for that rigorous program.
So if you want to, oh, sorry.
I think, Maddie, you're up.
Okay, sorry. So if you want to get your PhD in vet school, do you have like a separate interview process for that? Or
There is.
Okay.
Yep, and several of the PhD programs are still requiring the GRE, so you will want to investigate that and
Okay.
maybe give a call or an email to those graduate programs to find that out. But because I know some of them are still requiring the GRE.
Okay, so it's not like directly connected to the vet school.
It is within the vet school, but it's just not my department. So.
Yeah.
The Associate Dean of Research, Dr. Blecka, would be one person to reach out about the PhD programs.
Okay.
So he would be your resource there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good question.
So do you guys I know you said you have like the minimum amount of hours that you typically require, or not require, but like you want to see on like the transcript. So do you guys look like down upon it if we just take like a couple hours like during the summer, like for working full time?
No, not at all. No. I mean, that's very common actually that students take courses over the summer. So no, that would not be a negative at all.
Thank you.
Sure.
I just had a question real quick. If we were I had a study abroad planned for the summer, but it got canceled due to COVID and postponed. Is there somewhere on my application I could put that, or?
You could certainly mention unique opportunities like that in your personal statement.
Okay.
And any of the essay questions that you're completing on the VMCAS application, you could mention that there also. But that personal statement, and we should probably talk about the personal statement and essays just a little bit, but I'd say that's a good place to highlight some of those unique opportunities, whether they happened or not. You can put those in your experiences. They don't allow future experiences in that section on VMCAS. So your personal statement is probably the best place for it. Okay. I get a lot of questions about what should I put in my personal statement? What should I put in this essay? And that's really completely up to you. Those are your chances to talk about what's unique about you, what makes you stand out as an applicant. So use those opportunities. Make it look professional. Put a little title up at the top of it. Give it a title. Make it look professional. Make sure your grammar and punctuation is rechecked. Have somebody, even if it's a fellow classmate or an English professor. I used an English instructor from high school to read my essays when I was applying for vet school. So have somebody proofread it for you and give you a little bit of feedback. On your essays that you write for VMCAS, and all of these things have a word limit. So make sure you get to the point. So have a strong point, have a few strong supportive sentences, and get to the point, because think about how many essays and personal statements that we are reading. So keep that in mind and just make sure that you kind of get to the point there.
Okay, because I was kind of wondering too, because I was supposed to go to Africa this summer with Loop Abroad, and actually through the pre-vet club, and it's been postponed until next summer. I guess I could still go considering I'm just now a sophomore, but I was wondering too.
Yep. Yeah. So that personal statement is a good place to highlight some of those unique opportunities. I want to say a few more things about the supplemental application, if anybody's still working on that, because we get a lot of questions about that. So the supplemental application is really showing us what you have taken to fulfill our requirements. So One question we get is about the science courses, because we have on that application, we do have broken out the lecture and lab portion. I know K-State's grade is all one, it's 4 credits, but we get so many applicants from across the country and across the world that their lab classes are separate. So that's why that option is there. So for K-State students filling out our supplemental application, you have a Chemistry 1 course that included your lecture and your lab. Let's say you got an A. So on our application, you will divide that and you'll put 3 of those credits as lecture. So you put in the course information, the semester that you took it, and your grade of A. And then you will put exactly the same course information in the chemistry lab information, the same grade of A. Okay, so even if you know that you got a different grade in lab, if you have an A on your transcript for 4 credits, you'll use 3 of those for lecture and 1 of those credits for lab to fill out that application. Okay.
And you said that that's only on the supplemental, right? Because I was filling out my VMCAS and there's like a transcript entry part for VMCAS.
Yes.
And then, so it's just for the supplemental that we need to break it up?
Yes.
Okay.
Your entries on VMCAS should be exactly the same as your transcript. Because if you make a mistake there, they will catch it and they will make you fix it.
Okay.
So I know it's a little confusing because ours is different than the VMCAS, but VMCAS should be exact transcript and supplemental should be fulfilling our requirements.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Jamie. Looking good. Anybody else?
Anybody else? There are no simple, dumb questions.
No, because everybody probably has exactly the same questions. So, well.
If there aren't, at least with my experience, especially this past, I think 1 to 2 weeks, communicating with Dee, who's at the vet school. Everyone at the vet school is always willing to help and always willing to ask questions. So if you ever just want to send a question via email, they're always willing to answer questions because they do want you to succeed. And whenever you do.
Yep. And we do a lot of application reviews also. So if you have ever had an unsuccessful application, I'm happy to go through your previous applications with you and where you can strengthen your application, how you can hopefully be successful the next time around. So that's my job. That's why I'm here. I'm happy to help in any way.
So if we applied for early admission and didn't get in, can you go over like that application with us, or is it only like applications to the vet school?
We would probably only go over application to the vet school and just get prepared that way. The early admissions program over the last few years has really become much more limited. So even if you applied for that program but didn't get in, that does not mean that you can't be successful. It just means that it's just become a smaller program, kind of based on some feedback. And so that's the reason it's limited. It does not mean that people who applied for that aren't fabulous applicants. It's just coming through a different route. So, but I'd be happy to meet with you if you want to talk about, what you're doing right now to make sure you have a strong application. We've kind of broken down what's important, academics really above anything else is the most important. So just make sure that you are focusing on especially those science courses because those grades are very important. And then getting in some experiences is the next important thing really. Okay. And then using the Career Center, I don't know what Main Campus is doing right now, but if you're going to have an interview this year, it's going to be by Zoom. So work with the Career Center, and hopefully they're doing some mock Zoom interviews so that you can get some practice doing that. And use your resources on campus because they will certainly help you.
I just wanted to mention that made me think of it. I know that if you take if you're in animal science, I'm sure you can take it if you're not. If you're in animal science, you can take this class called 580, and it's like career preparation with Dr. Fike. And I took it, and she actually does mock interviews for a grade. And I actually interviewed with someone from the vet school that was on the admissions board the year before. So that really helped, and she gave me a lot of good feedback. So just a good class for you guys to think about in the future.
Good, good. I think I'm speaking to that class coming up maybe in a few weeks. So you might hear the exact same thing that I just said. But
I have a quick question about how many first years are part of the early admin program?
are you asking me?
Yeah.
We usually take about 10 to 15 students in that program. So kind of varies each year. But in the past, before I came, we would have 20 to 30. I think the largest class was 31 in that early admit program. And, you know, they're all very successful students, but we really wanted to limit that program just to make sure we were giving everybody a chance to get into vet school. So that was kind of the main complaint, that 31 seats out of, and a lot of them were Kansans. So 31 seats out of the 50 that we have available for Kansans were taken. So it really just needed to be revised a little bit. So
will you like just kind of break down for everyone like the percentages for like not only like the pre-admittance program, but Kansas students, Nebraska students, all other out-of-state students? Because I know you guys have like a pool from Nebraska, South Dakota, I think.
we no longer have a contract with Nebraska. So we used to. The only contract that we have right now is with North Dakota, and they have 5 seats each year that are available to North Dakotans. Sometimes those go unfilled, but for the last 2 years they have been filled. So 5 North Dakota, 50 Kansans, and then the rest of the class is filled with non-residents. Usually for Kansans, we'll get usually about 120 applications, and usually about 90 to 95 of those are qualified applications. And usually we try to interview all Kansans that are qualified. And then non-residents, you know, we'll get, just kind of varies each year, but 700 to 800 to 900 or even more non-resident applications. And usually about 700 to 800 of those are qualified. And then we'll interview about 350 non-resident students, or maybe a little bit more than that.
Just
Actually, oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Go for it. Mine was going to be just some dumb thing.
Oh, no, it wasn't. It's a good question. I just had a question real quick. So if we're out-of-state students here at Kansas State, I'm assuming we would still be applying as out-of-state to the vet school?
Yes.
Okay.
So non-resident students, there is a route to become a Kansas resident, but it involves not being a student. So if your plan is to come straight in from undergrad, you will be in the non-resident pool. The route to earn residency, like I said, is usually not, you cannot be a full-time student. In fact, I think you can only take like 3 credit hours per semester. You have to be employed full-time and pay taxes in Kansas. So there are non-resident students who choose to do that, but you know, it just depends on the timing for you. You know, if you really want to get through vet school within 7 to 8 years and coming straight through and don't have time to do that, then a lot of students come in as a non-resident.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Actually, going on to what she said, is there any sort of scholarships in the vet school for out-of-state students, like the Midwest Exchange, that would possibly help with tuition?
No, not like the Midwest Exchange, but
Okay.
we do have non-resident scholarships.
Okay.
So there are some that are from foundations that are very specific. So some of them are for a New Jersey student, or some of them for in-state students are just from these certain counties. So it just kind of depends, but a lot of our scholarship money does go to non-resident students.
And then when sending in your application to vet school, how would they take if you sat out a year to get in-state tuition? Would they mind at all, or like just be fine?
No, I mean, and there are students who do that. So it's just, as long as you do need to have a conversation with the registrar's office and make sure that you do everything right.
Oh yeah, I've already looked into all of that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I wouldn't want anybody to spend a year and then not do it quite right and
Right.
to earn that.
Okay.
Going back to the question about the tuition for in-state and out-of-state, I got told that since I'm receiving VA benefits for my first year, I will still get in-state tuition in the vet school. Is that correct?
For military dependents and members of the military, that is true. That is true for any school in the state of Kansas. So, and no matter where you're from, no matter where you've been stationed or where your parents were stationed, you will get in-state tuition.
Okay, thank you.
That's another thing too, though, to make sure with the registrar's office and the Office of Veteran Affairs that you have everything in order, because there are people who just think it's automatic and it's not. So just make sure you have everything done there.
Adding on to that last part, if we are military, then but if we're out of state, we would still be considered a non-resident, correct?
You are still considered in the non-resident pool. It just affects your tuition.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Good questions.
And then I had another question. So if we were in vet school, say we were like in our second year or something, and a crazy life event happened to where you had to move back home if you're an out-of-state resident or something to that effect, would it be a whole nother reapplication process if you took a year off, or would you just come back the next year and enroll in classes?
Good question. No, you would not have to reapply. So there are, I mean, life happens, and we're very aware of that. When we're talking about 4 years of your life, there are a lot of things that happen. So there are processes in place where you can take a leave of absence and then, state when you're going to come back. There are also students who are dismissed, can also appeal to be readmitted. So there are all sorts of policies associated with that, but it's if you have to leave for a family illness or something like that, those are very understandable, and yeah, there's a way. Okay. The time that doesn't really apply is the year that you're applying. We very rarely will defer a student. So if you apply and you're accepted and then you're like, oh, well, I might want to start next fall instead of this fall, that doesn't happen.
Okay.
So we're very, very rarely. So make sure that the year that you apply is that next year is when you're going to want to start.
Okay, awesome.
Anybody else? Okay. Well, make sure that you can email me anytime. I am here to help you. Like I said, if you wanted to come for a visit, you're welcome to let us know that, and we'll set you up with an ambassador for a tour if you haven't had one. I think it'd be very beneficial for you, and to get to talk to an ambassador, just a current student, because they'll give you some insight too about what it's like to be at the vet school.
Yeah, I would definitely take any opportunity to use any of the resources that the main campus gives to you, pre-vet club gives to you, and especially the veterinary school gives to you, just because they will help you immensely.
Mhm.
But yeah. So if there's not any last minute top of the head questions, I just want to thank Dr. Rost for coming and talking on our meeting real quick. I shouldn't say real quick, it's been quite a little bit.
I'm sorry, I hope I didn't take too much time.
Oh, no, not at all. I think everyone here is very grateful for the information that you just gave us.
Good.
So, without that, Dr. Rost, if you would like to stay, you can. We're just going to, or if you don't want to, we're going to introduce all of our new 2020-2021 officers that we have this year.
Okay, great. Well, I will say congratulations to all of you, but I think I will sign off. So like I said, please feel free to email me. That's what I'm here for. So I'm happy to help you in any way I can.
Okay, thank you
All right.
so much.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
You guys have a good night.
Thanks. Okay. So for everyone else that's still here, we are going to introduce the officers that we have currently. I'll start off with everyone and then we'll go to the VP and then everybody else can fight for who wants to talk first. So I'm Caitlin Thompson. Most of you have seen me interacting with all of you too much at this point. Sure, you guys see my name and you're like, oh, what is she saying again? So I'm a senior in biology and that at the College of Arts and Sciences this year. I'll be your president for this entire year. So if you guys have any questions, most of your questions will be directed at me. I am from Wichita. If he was in my vicinity right now, I would show you my dog. He's an English bulldog named Meatball. But he's somewhere over there causing trouble. He's somewhere causing trouble. So we'll show him. You'll see many pictures of him later. So I'll hand it off to Tristan, who's the VP, and then everybody else can talk.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tristan Auclair, your vice president. I'm a senior in biology, COVID. And this summer, or like the last 3 summers, I've been working at a general practice clinic. And then this summer, I've also been working at an emergency clinic. So if you have any questions on wanting to find a clinic or how to get started, feel free to message me. I'm originally from Seattle, Washington. I've got a fat cat named Apple running around, probably chewing on wires. So yeah, this is my 4th year in the club, 3rd year being an officer, and I'm excited for it.
Also, to add on top of that, I have also worked at a general practice clinic for 2 years. So if you have any questions about that in Wichita, you can ask me too.
Okay, I guess I can go next since no one else is going. I'm Jamie. I'm the historian this year. This is my 3rd year in the club, 1st year being an officer. I've also worked at a general practice for the past 1.5 years here in Manhattan. So if you want to know about like shadowing or any of that, because that's how I started, you can ask me as well. I live with 3 other people and we have a dog named Benelli, and she's the cutest dog in the world. I'm going to show you her. This is her. She's cute. Love her. She's the best. And then this is our macaw, Salsa. He screams and he's loud, but he's cute, I guess. He's all right. But yeah, I'm really excited to be an officer with you guys, and I look forward to getting to know all of you. Hopefully we can actually meet in person eventually, because that would be great. Also, Meatball over there looking really cute. So I hope you guys have a great time in pre-vet this year, and don't be afraid to ask us any questions.
I nominate Courtney to talk. Go for it.
Hi, I'm Courtney. This is my 3rd year in the club, 1st year as an officer. I'm the zoo liaison this year. So we're gonna try and do a zoo trip this year, but we have to make sure that we can do all COVID things properly during the semester, and hopefully next semester we're in person and not having to deal with this, so we could do the trips a little bit easier. I don't have that much vet experience, but I've been volunteering at the zoo back home for over 10 years now, and so keepers are basically their own kind of vet, so I've got to do a lot with that. If you have any questions about exotics, that is my specialty.
Hey everybody, I'll go next. I'm Weston. I am a junior this year in the College of Ag. I'm originally from Wichita, and hopefully my phone doesn't die, but none of my animals are up here, so here's some pictures of my cats, if they'll show up. Yep, that's all I got.
Also, I forgot to mention, I'm a senior in animal science this year, so if you have any questions about those classes, you can feel free to ask me about those too.
Weston, you didn't say what position you were.
I am the treasurer. I knew I forgot. I was like, did I remember to mention that? Thank you.
Okay, I'm Kylie. I am a senior in biology this year. I'm the special events chair. This is my second full year here. I'm a transfer student from Wichita State. So yeah, transfer students, I understand you're just being thrown into this, and just feel free to reach out, and I want to make sure everyone is included in this and has a good time. And I actually just got a new dog today. Shout out to Liz, that Great Pyrenees that you saw in the group me. She is now ours. So yeah, so she's adjusting well. She's upstairs with my family. So
Hey guys, I'm Brittany Salisbury. I'm a junior in animal science, and I am the Ag Rep Council, or the Ag Council representative. And yeah, I know a lot of people are having a lot of issues with trying to find volunteer work, and I know the T. Russell Ritz Animal Shelter here in Manhattan is actually still taking volunteers. They're taking precautions with COVID, but if you're needing volunteer hours, I would definitely check them out.
Okay, hi guys, my name is Kirsten. I'm a junior in animal science, originally from Shawnee, Kansas. I'm your communications chair, so you'll probably be annoyed with how much you see my name in the group me and stuff. So if you have any announcements or anything, let me.
Maddie Burkhart, our secretary, posted in chat her little hello. So if you want to read that, or I can read it. Yeah.
Yeah, Maddie messaged me earlier today, and she said that she was going to have some difficulties being on the message today, but she didn't. She did want to let you guys know who she is. So she's going to be our secretary again this year. She'll be the person that make sure you guys get your participation points for being at meetings and stuff like that. This is her third year as an officer, and she is also a senior. So she has a lot of information about being a K-State student, and also all of the ins and outs of being a pre-vet student.
Hi guys, my name's Demi. I'm a sophomore in biology, and I'm a community service chair. I have 2 horses and a dog, but none of them are here in Manhattan with me. So yeah, looking forward to this year.
All right, if I counted right, I think that's all of the officers that we do have right now. We still have officer positions open, people that have been in the club for at least a year. Unfortunately, freshmen can't be officers because you haven't been in the club long enough to know how it works. But next year is always an option. So I think Now that we've done just introductions, we should be done for the night. At our next meeting, which will be 2 weeks from now, all of our meetings are always on Thursdays at 7 p.m. And we'll let you guys know what they're going to be, who's going to be there, talking, and all of that. So, thank you for reminding me. I know that some people weren't able to attend tonight, so we're going to go ahead and I've been recording this thing throughout the entire thing. I'll do something special for them after everyone has logged off so that I can make sure that they have watched it so that they can still get the participation points. And I'll continue to do that throughout the rest of the semester just because this Zoom call is definitely different than everyone is used to, especially with pre-vet club and just clubs in general. So after everyone signs off, I will do something special to make sure that I know that they have watched it. And then I'm going to be posting it to YouTube. And if you ever miss a meeting, I'll have you watch it and comment something special that I'll say at the end later. And you have 24 hours after every meeting to be able to watch it and then do the comment so that I know that you've seen it and participated. And then, yeah, so at our next meeting, we'll do actual officer reports where we will let you know the ins and outs of the club, what it means to be an active member, all of that stuff. This was just kind of like a soft launch for this year to have Dr.Rost talk. I know that she was really excited to come talk to us tonight because she had her assistant message me probably in the beginning of July to talk to us. Yeah, I'm glad that she was able to talk to us. So if nobody has any other questions right now.
I do. You said you still have positions open. Are you going to go over what positions are still open next club meeting, or could you do like a rundown of the open?
Yeah, let me open my list real quick. I know for sure that we have two of the fundraising chairs, one of the community service chairs. Let me just open it real quick.
And then I'm assuming, but next club meeting, could you go into possibly in depth on what their duties would be?
Yeah, so I actually, I've already posted the duties of each officer in the GroupMe.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
That's okay. They're also everything that you need to know about the club, like rules and regulations. Kind of boring to read, but we do have a club constitution that goes over everything about the club, like what you need to know about it, what it means to be an active member. Like I said, we'll go over the active member stuff at the next meeting. But everything else. Okay, so right now we need a College of Arts and Sciences rep. So they work pretty closely with the College of Arts and Sciences to figure out what kind of information they have to help pre-vet students. We do need one more community service chair. We need 2 fundraising chairs, and then a social events chair, which Tristan knows most about that because he was that position for 2 years. But all of the other ones do still need filled. And I did post, it's a little bit farther up. I can repost them later tonight about what the specifications for each officer class is.
Okay. Yeah. I would totally like it if you could resend those again.
Yeah, you got it. I'll do that after we get off the meeting tonight.
All right, cool. Thank you.
And then where did you say was still accepting volunteers? I'm sorry.
Volunteers.
Someone said
It's the T. Russell Ritz Animal Shelter. It's in Manhattan. I'm assuming they're still taking new volunteers because I've been getting emails. I've been volunteering there for a while, but I don't know why they would let us come in and not new people come in. And then if you just Google them, you'll find their application and all that good stuff.
I'm not quite sure about the Sunset Zoo here. I know for sure that the Sedgwick County Zoo in Wichita,
Allowing volunteers, but volunteers had to wear masks during their shift at the zoo.
So it might be easier to volunteer at the zoo during the winter time when it's not going to be quite as hot. And you'll be inside most of the time, so you're not suffering through the heat or the dreadful cold. So you might check at the Sunset Zoo as well for volunteer opportunities. And we'll, a lot of the advisors throughout the entire university send me a lot of volunteer things. So I'll obviously forward it to you guys to let you know. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Sorry, I didn't mean to unmute it. My cat like bumped the keyboard.
We've all been there. But is there any other questions right now? I know most of you have been utilizing my email or the GroupMe to ask me questions. And you can always keep doing that, but if you don't have any other questions right now, then I think we're done for the night unless any of the other officers have anything to say right now. No? Okay. So I'll have everyone sign off before me so I can do the thing for the people that weren't here so that they can get the extra points. So I will say good night to all of you and thank you for coming. So 2 weeks from now will be the next general body meeting. Again, always at 7 p.m.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good night. All right. Hello, guys.
I got a question.
What?
So is Joey still is he an officer this year?
I don't think he applied, to be quite honest.
Okay.
Got the entire
'Cause
list.
he DM'd me and he mentioned a Discord channel and the stream meeting on there, which, do you know what Discord is?
I do. That would be really interesting.
Oh my God.
And it's kind of a gamer thing, right? But it does have some very good, it's a great format because you have chats, forum posts, stuff like that, more kind of layered out stuff. The only thing with that is we'd have to get everyone onto it.
To download.
Because the setup, I've set up a couple servers of my own and stuff like that for friends. But if that's something we could think about if we don't all want to do Zoom. I know we're already on Zoom, but Joey brought that up and I thought I'd mention it,
It is neat. It's like GroupMe and Zoom mashed into one, but better still.
Yeah.
I've been on Discord. I just figured since everyone was already mostly using Zoom as their primary.
Yeah, that's the only reason I'm and you could still video chat and voice chat and all that stuff. And share screens.
Yeah. Anyway. You two officers. I need to talk about getting the bank account transferred.
Oh yeah.
And I have all the stuff for you, Weston. So I'll message you in the group chat that I have with you two and Zach, and we can get it transferred.
Okay. And then since I'm already treasurer, if nobody picks up a fundraising like position, I think I could probably like take that up too. I mean, they kind of go hand in hand. So
I was thinking about that for the social events as well. I could do that again.
I just want I want other people to apply because I had so many people wanting to do it, and then I didn't get as many applications as I wanted, but it's okay. Fine.
If no one does it, push comes to shove, I'll do it. Because all of our social events will be on Zoom.
We can try and do that.
Hey guys, welcome to the Tristan Auclair Twitch stream. Thank you all for coming. Here's my cat Apple, who's fat. She's not actually here. I had to go feed her a moment ago.
Anyway, I have to do the sign off thing for the people that weren't here. So goodbye.
Yeah, I know.
See ya.
Wait, does Anna Lorette have anything to say? She's probably AFK.
I believe she's AFK.
Yeah, she's okay.
All right.
Bye everyone. Have a good night.
Goodbye. Okay, so for everyone that has watched this far, thank you for staying. But I'm gonna be uploading this to YouTube, so I will have you guys in the comments write down a question from tonight's speaker that you have. If it's a question that I can directly answer, then I will. If not, then I will send a mass list of all the questions just straight to her, and I'll post her her response in the GroupMe. So I will have you do a question from the speaker, and then I will have you answer the question of what's your favorite pizza topping, just so that I know that you watched this far and you get the gist. Okay, thanks.